Thank you. It's so nice of you to be here. And thank you for being nice to the dogs. If you happen to be nice to the dogs, thank you. So, Laurie, thank you for doing this. We have our dogs here as our special guests. Do you want to introduce Will?
This is Will.
That's Will. And we thought that we would just start the show with the dogs in case that didn't work out later. So I don't totally remember the story, but I made a video of Busy, my dog, moonwalking, and sent it to Laurie. And then I heard that you were trying to get Will to moonwalk, sort of. Not really. All right.
No, I was trying to do that.
Okay.
He's on. Good.
So I thought that we would start the night trying to teach Will how to moonwalk and Laurie.
Okay.
Do you know how to moonwalk?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Do you really?
I mean, yes. In the white Jewish way, I guess. All right. So should we try it? But this may not work.
Let's start with Will.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay, Will.
Here we go. Will. Sit. Good boy. Walk. Walk. No.
You can ask him to roll over. Try that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Will,
Start with that.
Sit. Good. Excellent. Hey, Busy. Sit. Sit. Moonwalk. Will, roll over. All right, let's start again. We're going to start.
Whoa! Yeah, he did. He rolled over. Yeah, that was great. He didn't moonwalk, but okay.
Oh, the leash. Okay. All right, well, Busy, come here. Show. All right. Will, back.
Hey, that's moonwalking!
Okay. All right, one more. All right, you ready? You get no treats.
Oh, really? Okay, let me see you.
Well, I haven't really done this since I was 11.
Okay.
So here's how you do it. Here's the white Jewish way.
Yeah.
On your toes. On your toes.
Okay.
Oh no, I'll start on this. On your toes here.
Okay.
All right, slide your heel back. Heel. Switch. Heel back. Switch. Audience. No audience backseat drivers. All right, now you put on your elbow. No, just come here.
Can you moonwalk forward? Let me see you moonwalk forward.
I haven't.
Just try it.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Look at these. Is that how it would be?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's good enough.
All right. She sort of did it.
Yeah, okay.
Yay. Yeah, we did.
Okay.
All right. So,
We have a door prize. And I'm just trying to think of how to motivate you into wanting it. I know you haven't seen it, but it's here. Jim, do you have it? Can you bring it up here? You have. I just brought this by in case any of you. Yeah, this is incredible. Okay, let's put it on here so it could be like this. Okay. We thought we would do just start with a Q&A, and actually I was just thinking of just doing the A. So because that's what I really want to know anyway from you. So does anyone have any good A's? G'days, that sounds like a, like a Australian thing. G'day. Yeah, anyone have any good days? They've heard lately, Okay, so why don't we just start then?
Do you want them to answer
Any question
that
that's
have
been
not
on
been
your
asked?
mind? Any question that's been on your mind that you happen to have an answer to? We can get back to that later. I know it's a little rough way to start out. So, what was this conversation that we're reprising?
Okay, well, Laurie and I sat down, I don't know how long ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and talked about, we were supposed to talk about music, and we ended up talking about music a little bit, but everything. You talked about Buddhism, the Bardo, Lola Bell, Andy Kaufman, being obsessed with the sky when you were little. We talked about particle physics, as I do, and it was amazing. You talked about, we had about an hour, and you covered everything, and it was amazing. Yeah.
Too intimidating.
So I actually didn't know we were supposed to reprise that conversation, but that's okay. We don't need to, because the conversation exists already in the book, which you can buy back there, but not right now.
Read from the book, just.
I was thinking of that
It'd
earlier.
be so nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just like read our parts.
Yeah.
And just.
That'd actually be quite funny.
We brought our dogs for no good reason, really. Just we're both dog lovers, and I find dogs just very, very inspiring. And your dog is a Havanese?
I think so. I sort of make it up. She's a rescue, so I just throw every week. Is she something different? But yeah, why not? Poodle, Havanese. What's Will?
Will is a border terrier, and so a breed that's just kind of obsessed with borders, perimeters, and also as a terrier, they're dogs that are dedicated to fun. And one of the reasons I got this I love terriers is our dog trainer said, if you want to imagine what your breed of dog is, you have to imagine what they would say to you how they would talk to you if you gave them a command. So you give a command to a German Shepherd, and they go, "Right, boss. You are going to get it exactly the way you ask me. No problem. Don't worry about it." A poodle will just go, "Just love me, because I'll do anything if you just love me." You give a command to a terrier, and they go, "Is it going to be fun?" It's not going to be fun. I'm not interested at all. And I really admire that attitude more and more as I go through life, that having a very good time is something that's becoming essential to me. It could, so I don't, anyway, we could.
So do you only say yes to things that you think that's going to be a good time?
I say yes to things. Actually, I'm saying yes to everything now, but I used to have a more a stricter scale. It would be 3 things. I would do a project, let's say a work project. It would have to be 2 of the 3 things. First it would be fun. Second, it would be interesting. And third, it would make money. So I could do something that was fun and interesting, or, and that would be enough, or made money and was fun, so, and it's really a pretty infallible thing, in case you need some scale. I mean, I'm sure you have ways that you decide when you're going to do something, because otherwise, she's doing his impression of small baby bird. Anyway, so I found that's pretty helpful in terms of thinking of what to do. Do you have rules like that?
Yeah, but every day I have to remind myself what they are, because I forget.
What's today's
rule?
Yeah. But if you
I really need to try and say no to things that feel more like obligations and less like fun. So that was sort of today's, like I was looking through the weekend and I was like, okay, I want to do that. I don't really want to do that. I want to do that. Don't really want to do that. So I'm still like saying yes to things that I don't really want to do. But
you have a complicated weekend. It sounds like there's a lot going on. It's like,
yeah, it's really,
what are you doing this weekend?
well, I didn't say in order of what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. Okay, so don't go trying to figure out what I want to do and what I don't want to do based on that. Oh, I think we have a question. Do we have a question?
That's tough when you think you should be having fun.
Yeah, that's an obligation to me.
Very tough. Yeah.
A should to me is an obligation, is a sense of, yeah. I have a dinner tomorrow night, a pen dinner with Billy Collins. I have a date on Saturday night. Yeah, exactly. What do you feel sorry for him or me? And then Sunday I'm going to Pioneer Works, and then some other little things thrown in there. What are you doing?
I'd rather not say.
Oh, you have a better weekend than I do. Much better. So why did you? Was there a reason that you started saying yes?
Just to try things that I wouldn't normally do. Mm-hmm. I did a year of that once, and I learned a lot of things because you know how you get into doing what you do, and then you if you're an artist or whatever you do, you get a style, and then you do your style, and people go, "That's your style," and then if you depart from your style, they go, "You're departing from your style." It's so claustrophobic. Hey, Willie, come here. Willie, come here. And
okay.
Oh, Elizabeth is here. Elizabeth is his teacher.
Oh. Speaking of teachers,
nice.
And can we talk a bit about? Is Will taking any music lessons?
Well, maybe Elizabeth would like to talk about that for a second. Would you mind? I don't know if that helps.
Does it help?
This is Elizabeth.
Hi. Our surprise guest.
I don't know if this helps. I don't know. It seems like nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Use it anyway.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
I think he's quite talented. I let him loose on one of your keyboards, but and he wouldn't stop. But I didn't want to push anything because of Lola Bell. Yeah.
He does get me a cold one.
He gets a cold one, yes.
Can you describe getting a cold one?
I say, Will, get me a cold one, and he opens a refrigerator, gets out a bottle of cold water, and hands it. Yeah, it's very, very cute. Will!
Busy, we have some work to do.
If you want your dog to open the fridge
Yeah, how do you do that?
cabinets, then
Settle down. Yeah, well over. Yeah.
Now, Lola Bell played piano, yes?
yes.
Oh yes, she.
Lola Bell.
Yeah, we decided that we would teach Lola the piano. Basically, I think was because we wanted to do something nice for Lola Bell while she was not feeling well. Lola Bell was very ill, and so I very strongly believe in doing occupational therapy for dogs who are not feeling well, because we don't want them to just sit and moan and not do anything and then have everybody say, oh, she's so feeling so bad. You know, just to get her out of that mode. And I guess when I first met Laurie, she heard that I had taught my dog to play the piano, to self-soothe. And then Laurie said, can you teach Lola? And I said, well, I can try. And it worked out pretty well. Yeah, she loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She played really beautifully. Thanks, Elizabeth. That's Elizabeth Weiss, our surprise guest.
Lola Bell actually had amazing timing. Unless that was just taught, I don't know. But I don't know what. There's some video of her playing the synthesizer, and she barks in it. But her timing is impeccable. Is that her, or was that?
Yeah, I think it.
That was her.
And yeah, I don't know that timing can be taught. What is that? Yeah. She used backing tracks, also. So do I. She used a lot of the same ones that I do. You know, it's like can get into sort of a groove that way.
Yeah.
There's a question.
What's getting your attention creatively right now?
Right now is, I suppose, opera, actually. I'm listening to some opera. And that's not something I'm generally drawn to, but I've been listening to Schoenberg, actually, and just wondering how those chords are shattering all over the place. They're really, really interesting chords. So I just started to try to analyze why that was really beautiful. This kind of crazy shattering of the, and also there's the through line and the music is not like one that I'm familiar with. So I found that really, really satisfying. So to try to understand something like that. I was going to say before about doing things that you don't, saying yes, and that I did that for a year, and I was just going to say one or two things about what that was like. So once you get your style, then how do you get out of that trap? You know, because it really is a trap. And especially in the art world, you know, you think, oh, I'm doing something where there's just almost no rules. And you realize, whoop, here come the art police. When you step out of your category. It's very, very strict, as those of you who, I'm sure you know, like you're supposed to stay in your little corral. So I did a long series of things called Happiness, and it was the point of that was to get out of what I was used to doing and try to do things that I didn't have any idea how to do, and it was really. I'm very happy I tried to do that. You know, I highly recommend it. I did a lot of sort of jobs. I worked at McDonald's for a while down on Canal Street. And I went to a farm and worked on an Amish farm for a while where there was zero technology because I was kind of burning out on looking at screens. I thought, what would it be like to be in a place with zero technology? So that kind of backfired because I was thinking of this sort of idyllic kind of thing, and I got into a situation where the family of farmers, they were so depressed, actually, that they would just sit inside while it was pouring rain outside for like 2 weeks and have these kind of silent arguments. It was just, heartbreaking. It would just the kind of argument where, an hour would go by and someone would go, "That's what I was saying about why I can't stand you." You're like, wait, no one has said anything for an hour. What are you brooding about? It was a lot of brooding and a lot of kind of sadness, this kind of thing. Just people who were also felt that they needed to be very good. They needed to be good people, and they were just choking on their own goodness. They're like, they were so angry. They're so angry. And they had to be so nice. So I thought, get me back to New York where people aren't just going to say, I really don't like what you just did, or try to say things and, not be sitting around brooding. So that experiment was, for me, a useful one, and it was a way to not just to say yes to everything, but just to say, just to try things out that would be beyond my bounds of what I thought I should do. Like we were saying, what your obligations are.
Right.
to have a consistent personality, which I think is one of the most oppressive things around, that you're supposed to like behave the same way from day to day, when that's absurd, you know. So
what were your jobs at the farm?
well, I did all sorts of stuff. I had the lowlier jobs, mopping, and we it was raining too hard to work outside, so we were really, that's why, I mean, maybe that was part of the sadness of it. It was like, just, you know, there was no way to get out. So I mopped and did dishes and, you know, just did whatever needed to be done around the house.
Did you learn anything that you hadn't learned before? Busy. She's gonna go to the shipping department.
I learned a lot about rage and how it works with desire. You know, desire to be good, and desire to be nice, and how much energy that takes from people. So they just, you know, they get very exhausted from that, because you feel guilty that you're not being such a nice person, you know, that you're angry. So, you know, that, I guess. I mean, I kind of knew that already, but it was there in a very vivid form.
Do you feel like you have that desire to be nice too?
Yeah, I'm from the Midwest. I'm like a nice person, you know. So I'm like I actually like people. I actually do like people, and I'm curious about. My dad was a salesman, and he was somebody who was like, so who are you? What do you do? And he was just asking. He really wanted to know. So I kind of thought that was how you behaved, you know, the way you learn from your parents. And but you learn, I mean, I learned other kind of weird things from my parents too. For example, he was like a friendly guy, but also he was also the one of the couple that was very sort of, I felt, from my point of view, carefree, because the women I knew as a child were ones, the teachers and the mom, who were going to eat your dinner, read your book, and I thought, whoa, these are tough people. And my father was always going, why don't we go out for ice cream? And he had all millions of little songs and dances that he was always doing, and I was thinking, like, men are so charming, not a care in the world, you know. And the women are like, rah, rah, you know. Like, so I got that kind of impression early, and I've never really quite shaken it. You know, I kind of think that, you know, we're on the tough side, and the men are just kind of, you know, so lighthearted in a funny way. So, you know, and some are, some aren't, and the same with the women. But those things are very hard to shake, I found. You know, did you learn anything as a child about who men and women were?
Yes.
And what was that you learned?
Not what you did. Anyone in my family here?
That's a very good question before we go on.
From New York. Let's see, see how diplomatic I can be. I learned that men are elusive, intangible, faraway creatures, and that women are a close second. Whoops. Oh, that's okay. My therapist is 3 blocks away. I didn't learn that at all. But what you learned. And yet, you know, I still have a wonder about people. It was never cemented. It's for me, it's not that they're cemented that way. It's just sort of, I feel like, is that the truth, or is that not the truth? I'm not,
sort of a template that you just work around.
Yeah. But yeah, no, men, I just have no experience with a male template, much less a carefree, curious dude. But to me, just to go back for a minute to the niceness thing, to me that what you were describing doesn't sound like nice. It sounds like curious. and engaged. Like the desire to be curious is you were describing it when I asked you about your desire to be nice, and then you went and you said, yes, you're from the Midwest, and then you described your dad. But your dad sounded not nice, but curious. Like nice to me, yeah.
What is nice to you?
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Nice to me is almost a falsity, like a need to have other people like you. So you're behaving in ways that will cultivate this sense that you are worth being acknowledged, or you know what I mean? To me it's a sort of an
economic.
Yeah,
thing.
a little bit. Yeah. I don't know. Nice has always been sort of not a bad word, but
It's pretty bland.
yeah, it's bland.
Yeah.
It's bland.
Yeah. Well, curious is another way, but also, I think, don't you like it when people are curious about you?
I love curiosity.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it's different from nice. I think curious is genuine. When someone's genuinely curious, yeah, I love it. I think I'm curious. But yeah, I think that's just different from nice. Like I feel like a nice person is not really in touch with themselves or with their own curiosity. You know? Do you know what I mean? No.
No.
Do you guys know what I mean?
Anybody want to weigh in on?
Weigh in on nice.
Nice. The word nice.
Yes.
The difference between not being nice and being kind.
But nice has an edge of polite, and of being, reserved, and kind is empathy and really being able to jump inside someone else and really wholeheartedly jump inside them and look out their eyes. And that is a really incredible skill that some people actually have. And I think that's that goes kind of beyond curiosity. I mean, so if there were any skill that I think I would want to have more than anything else, it would be empathy. Like really to know that instead of just kind of judging people, really to understand what it is like to be another person, and see what just for a little bit. I mean, I think that's what writers do. To try to be other people, really see what they are, not just endlessly, wow, that didn't say.
It might be playing. Might be playing. Wait, that surprises me though. Do you consider yourself not empathic? Do you want to talk, Busy?
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself not empathic, but you don't think that you have a lot of empathy?
Oh yeah, I aspired to that. I aspire to be empathetic. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you could have a skill that you don't have at all, what would it be?
Moonwalking.
Well, we're gonna have to work on that.
You would like to say something?
I would. I don't know, I'm getting nervous. I first discovered you I'm realizing it's almost 30 years ago. The news show was created by Steve Martin and Buck Henry.
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, and I saw video, Sharky's the Scene, and it blew me away, and it totally opened my eyes to a whole different side of art. And I realized years later that you were one of my first muses, and it was so wonderful just to see the world in a different way. And I was curious who your muses were, or who you draw inspiration from for your work.
I'm trying to think back to then, because that's a really long time ago. But I suppose one of the biggest ones is Burroughs. Just because he's so dark and so funny. That's just an unbeatable skill. I suppose he was more than anyone. I don't know. More than anyone, yeah. Burroughs.
And now?
Burroughs. Consistent.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hi. I have a question for
both of us.
both of y'all. What was the first job you guys quit?
Interesting.
I mean, I quit things all the time, you know. It's just the first time I quit, I don't know. I almost never finish a job. I would say I've almost never, have I ever finished something? I never finished things. I just walk away just because I don't know how to finish them. And I kind of abandon them and just kind of, well, and they're finished because the time is up or the money is out or whatever it is on that project that says, you know, you're done. But I've never looked at anything I've ever done and kind of went, that's really just finished. It's perfect, you know. Let's not say perfect, just finished. It's all unfinished. So did I quit? There's a little bit of a difference between quitting and not finishing. You just run out of time. Quitting is just like, yeah, you know. So what about you, Les?
I'm trying to think. I worked for a really long time in film, and I just went from one. I stayed with the same production company, so I never really quit. And I guess I feel like I know I worked for like a casting director for a little bit, and she used to. I don't remember her name, but I remember she would throw staplers at our heads if we didn't pick up the phone on the half ring. The half ring. I'm really good at picking up the phone on the half ring. So that happened, and then she would do this other thing where she would have us walk into her office with a dry erase board with the name of the person on the phone, and then she would look at it. And she'd be on the phone, and she'd be staring at you with your dry erase board, and you'd be standing there like, you know, have you seen that it's David? And just stare at it and stare at it, and 5 minutes would pass, and then finally she'd lower the phone and be like, yeah, I get it, leave. And it was horrible. She was so horrible, but I stuck it out for a while.
Did you all follow that story? I'm not sure I did.
Okay, you would stand there.
You stand there and
with
the dry
erase board, holding up the name of the person on the phone.
Right.
And she would be on the phone talking, and she'd look and make eye contact with me and read the dry erase board and just keep staring, but you weren't really allowed to leave until she told you to leave.
Oh, I see.
So you'd be standing there for like 5 minutes holding it because she liked to embarrass you. So I quit that job. Yeah. That's what I did. Yes.
I was looking at this book. It's a collection of writings by Agnes Martin. Just in the back there, before it started. And there was this quote that I thought was relevant. I wanted to hear what you thought. He says, "We have been strenuously conditioned against solitude. I suggest to artists that you take every opportunity of being alone, that you give up having pets and
Unnecessary companions? Wow, she's really hardcore. It's like,
like New Mexico.
yeah. It's, yeah.
Why do you think she said that?
Well, do you know her paintings?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, there it is. You know, it's, you know, and also New Mexico is sort of like a, have you noticed it's a place where New York artists go to die? Have you noticed that? Just think about it. How many have gone there? You know, it's a big sky place. It's a magic place. It's haunted and beautiful place. Also, the thing about New Mexico is like a geologist explained to me what mesas are. I don't know if you happen to know this, but they're when New Mexico was Minnesota in the past, and had lots of little beautiful lakes, and the place dried up and all of the clay silted down to the bottom of the lakes, and it continued drying, leaving these hard caked clay tops on the sides of the lakes fell away until the bottoms of the lakes were the tops of the mesas. And so it's this kind of map of old lakes. So it's one of the most beautiful places in the world, because for me, the most beautiful places in the world are all sky. And so that place is beautiful. Why she said solitude? Well, every artist needs, and every person needs a different kind of thing. I have a great appreciation of solitude, and I think it's probably where I learn the most is absolute solitude. And so I don't know why she said that about animals. It's like kind of just anyway. Her work is so strict, though, in so many ways. I mean, it really is like it doesn't have, let's say, much humor in it. Maybe it does. Does it have humor in it? It's very, very classic, strict, a little bit stark. Very beautiful. Very, very beautiful work. But I miss things that have a mixture of, I like to laugh, and so I really appreciate when somebody has seen something a little bit absurd, because it's pretty absurd to be a human being, and I like it when someone isn't just like so strictly classical and can see the absolute absurdity of what we're trying to do. So I like that. It's just my own thing. Do you like Agnes Martin?
I don't know Agnes Martin.
You mean show a picture of her? Hold it up.
Just her writing.
Oh, her writings,
I thought it was also interesting that you were talking about artists working outside their perspective.
Yeah.
Esther?
Well, first Agnes Martin, it's all about horizon line,
Yeah.
over and over and over.
Yeah.
Whether you see it or barely see it or a lot see it, so a whole room of horizon. Multiple lines. But I wanted to ask you a question, Laurie. I saw you in the green room just last month. And you said something I didn't quite understand what it was. You said, I'm not sure I got it right. You said, well, I don't want to do sculpture, and just one more of that instead of that. What did you mean by that? I mean, you used your name. And then one last question. Should I give you two questions?
Sure, yeah.
Years ago, I heard you in an interview, and you said, do you ever have creative blocks in what you do? I said, well, yeah. Sometimes I fear I'll never think of anything new again. And they asked you what you did, and you said, well, I just get near my materials. I just sit next to my materials. And I hope that something comes of it, and it usually does. So you got the first question. And the second one is, do you ever have that situation where you go be with your materials?
So the first thing about some shapes or something like that and something like that. Well, what I was trying to say was that when I worked as a sculptor, which is how I started out, I was frustrated with the idea that you have to come up with new shapes all the time. I was like, there's already so many shapes in the world. Why do you have to come up with new shapes? Yet more, then it's going to go, and you go, wow, new shape. You could just look at it from another angle, and you get a new shape, So I was like, what I was trying to do is just use the old shapes that were around anyway, and just repurpose them. So, and I especially like tools. So I would especially work with tools and give them new things to do. Which reminds me of, well, no, it's like, for example, somebody asked me to do a music box, and so I decided to do a duet music box and use a level. So I put a sensor in this level so that and little speakers on either end. So when the level is held like this, you hear him singing, and when it's like this, you hear her, and when it's level, you hear them in equal duet. And I just like handheld things that are a little bit ambiguous. It's not an instrument. It's not what is it? It's a tool. And also, I liked how you use it, because then it's also, where's that water? I'm going to say one more thing and then have a drink of water while you talk.
That was an excellent question, Esther. Thank you very much.
When you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Over to you for a second.
All right, that was deep enough to just sit in silence for a minute. But I'll reiterate, when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Where's my dog? What was that? Oh, okay, as long as it's love. You all right? One more. Where's Will? Love Fest? All right, that's good. They might get married yet.
Playing with materials also is, when you run out of ideas, is a wonderful thing to do. I think it's just, no matter what you work with, words or color or just about anything. I think if you just throw them up and just goof around with them, you might find something.
I've used that comment. I quoted you. I said it was yours.
You know,
Trademarked, so
I don't have that trademarked. It can be yours.
Many people have taken that.
Another one is, if you're stuck, is to try to make the worst thing you can possibly do. And that is so, I'm telling you, that's really effective. You know, write the worst story you can ever, just the worst painting, and you'll find out so much. I mean, first of all, it's going to have a lot of energy in it. And it's not going to have, like, you worrying about, is this the best thing or just mediocre? Or, you know, it's just going to be the worst thing you ever did. No question about it. And it'll have a lot of energy in it. So, and it could turn out to be, you know, just really much more wonderful than something that you're worrying about it so much. So I think that's a good thing. Also, about 10 years ago, I did a CD-ROM and called Puppet Motel, and it had lots of little puzzles in it and little things like that. And I just had a meeting this afternoon with the group of people who have turned it into an app, because it got lost. You know, like when you work with the technology, it's just like it no longer exists. And so now it's going to be an iPhone app. And I was just looking at it, and I couldn't remember all of these places in it and puzzles. And one of them was something for writer's block. And it was a little piece of software where you start, instead of like being truly afraid and paralyzed by a blank sheet of paper, like, well, who am I to write anything, or who cares about what I think or say? So instead of that blank piece of paper, you start with a whole book. So you start with Crime and Punishment, and you gradually substitute your friends' names for the characters, and then the cities that you know for the cities in the book, and then situations that happen to you, and then I guarantee you that this you will not see the template of Crime and Punishment after you're done with this, and it's a whole lot of fun. So it's a way to just unleash what you can do without being so afraid that you're going to not create something brand new or whatever. Nothing's brand new. Nothing. Absolutely zero. So if you can stop obsessing about that, which is hard. I mean, I obsess about it all the time. Like, well, it has to be never seen before, and whatever. And that is a thrill. I mean, I'm an experimental artist because I like that thrill. I like that thrill of this has not ever happened before. As a kid, I had a hobby of that. I would go out into my fort and think of various scenarios and situations that had never happened in the world ever. And what's that?
Who taught you that?
I taught myself that. It was just like, wouldn't it be great if, and then I would write them down while I was smoking oak leaf cigarettes. And,
How
old were you that you were smoking in a fort?
6, you build a fort, you go out in the back in the woods and you build a fort, roll some oak leaf cigarettes and think of things that have never happened ever in the world. And I would think, write them down, and then I go, I bet that did happen. That's like I could make it, tweak it a little bit more so it had never happened. I don't know why I had that hobby. That was my hobby of thinking of things like that.
Do you remember any of them?
Yeah, a man is walking down a road, and he's hobbling, and it's the Middle Ages, and I would draw these two so that you could like really imagine them. A goose gets a heart attack and falls on this guy's head and kills him. Then I would like think, I bet that happened sometime in the Middle Ages. I'm going to change the time frame, and then that won't have happened then. Don't know why I had that hobby. I also had, my other hobby was making, this is really sus, colonial newspapers. Like thinking of
That
what had
sounds
happened
familiar.
at that day in a colonial town that I would invent, and I would like write. I have not remembered this until just now that was my hobby. I got boxes of old stuff from my childhood like a couple of weeks ago, and I came across one of those actually, and I had forgotten that was a hobby. Just give names to people who are nothing much happened in these little colonial towns. And so I would just try to make it, like any journalist, a little more interesting than it actually was, So,
Do you remember any of the headlines?
they were things, animals, things that happened to animals in the town mostly, so-and-so gave birth to whatever, I don't know. And then revolutions would sometimes happen. People would join, which to me is always, I'm drawn to revolutions because people work with each other in different ways in revolutions, and I just find that an energetic way to work with others to change things. I'd rather be in a revolution than a party. Probably most of you would. I was like, I don't want to talk about who won the Oscars. I just don't care about that stuff. I don't like chit chat. I really don't. Really, really don't. I'd rather be part of a revolution, trying to just think about how we are now and what we could be. It's interesting. There's a person.
Yeah, there's a person. We'll take a few questions and then we have to do the door prize. Don't forget. But let's take a few questions first.
Okay, so Michael and I were talking earlier about noticing children in the city lately paying all of their attention to iPods, iPads, etc., and not like they're in situations that are totally amazing, like being taken on a bicycle through the city, or I forget what the other situation. What? Oh, being at a rock concert, and instead of paying attention to the fact that they're at a rock concert, the thing is at a tiny little electric thing. So I was going to ask what your story would be. What is their imagination going to be like when they're sitting in the chair where you guys are? What do you imagine their creative side is going to be?
Well, I've noticed that, I know what you mean, but I've noticed that kids are really, really, really good editors. And I think they're learning that from looking at screens too. They can really cut stories together so well. They're looking at cuts all the time. So I think they are going to tell stories in radically different ways. Is it better that they're looking at the screen than the sky? I don't know. I don't know. We're evolving all the time. So there, I do notice that their stories are quite different. They have different arcs, and they're like, and they're great editors. So that's cool.
I just thought it was interesting before when you said Burroughs, and so much of his writings are these little shards of stories, and it's up to you to go from like A to Z. But in so much of your work, and then knowing that you were influenced by Moby Dick, there's so much information, and you give us so many details to kind of fill out the story for us. So I was wondering, for both of you, where do you feel narrative falls in your own work or in art as a whole?
You take that one.
Okay, okay. Well, I love short stories. I mean, I'm not. One of the things I'm trying to do now is write a really, 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 really long story, and that's very challenging because you need a kind of different map. And mostly somebody who writes short stories or songs or a paragraph-long thing, and they're strung together in ways that animate them like they might all be about different ways that you're stretching or truncating time, or something like that. But that's, you could say that about anything, right? It's kind of not really that much of a narrative thread. I appreciate sort of flash moments a lot, and am often suspicious of stories. I mean, I don't experience life as a story. I don't see how, and when I do, I feel very queasy about it. You know, that it has a narrative arc, and you're like, this. I mean, my life does not have a narrative arc. It just doesn't. Things happen, and you respond to them, and they don't have a theme particularly. You know, so we impose themes and narrative structures on things, and often it's very clumsy. You know, it seems like a clumsy sort of thing to put over all of this experience and information. I mean, sometimes it helps you to see things in a certain way, but I don't experience life as a story. So and you know, whenever you see someone sort of wrapping things up so neatly, coming to a punchline, you know, everybody is really, you know when that punchline hits that it's very, very manufactured generally. And I think journalists, for example, who go for that, gradually learn that the punchline is an awfully easy way to, you know, so-called sum it up, and that it's much more mysterious not to have one, but to just end in a way that is like, ooh, what, the ending, you know? And that's, I think, resonates much more strongly with people who realize that most of life is, it doesn't add up to this thing that's, this summation that's plastered on things. It's very disappointing when somebody does that, I think, you know, and very exciting when they don't. Mm-hmm. Very exciting when you can leave it open. You're going, and then what? And then what? Because then you're in the middle of life, you know. You don't. Then it's not very predictable, and to manufacture a convenient little story is it's a fable for kids, you know. I mean, and you know, has a neatness to it that.
When you say get unfinished.
Yeah, unfinished, and just it is.
We have time for one more question, and then we're going to do the door prize.
Yeah, what basis are we doing the prize on? I mean, it's a really nice thing. This it's a speaker system with a skull. Let's open it.
Hold on, wait.
Okay, all right.
But we'll do one more question before we do that. Should we do that? One last question. Sir with glasses pointing at himself. Yes. Yes. Still you.
What's really interesting is that you started by asking if anyone had any good answers, and that, I have been listening to what you've been saying, but that's also been in my head the whole time. What's a good answer? Well, and I sort of sense that might be something that interests you, but what you've just said is all about questions. Leading questions and posing questions. And I just wondered, do you, I guess the traditional thing is creative people, artists, they think, pose a question and then find a way with it. But either work from an answer, or are you curious about taking answers? Is that where that came from?
I think it's a good point to make the answer the starting point. That's good, and then you work backwards from that and realize that there aren't any. So it was a ploy, you know, to say that it was just like, I don't think there are any particular. There, I suppose mathematicians have certain kinds of answers, but I bet they have many more questions than answers. Okay, so she's going to. Comes with a booklet. Oh yeah. That's the remote.
wow.
That's the remote control. Yeah.
Wow.
You're gonna love this. Whoever gets this, it's really.
That's nice looking.
Yeah.
Many gifts inside of this box.
Oh wow. It's like an Apple product.
Yeah. If only. Oh, that is handsome. That is great looking. That is amazing.
I have to admit that somebody sent me 2 of these, so I'm gonna still have one in case any of you really have to have one. Just call me up later and I'll give you the other one.
Okay, so do you want to do it?
I think your idea is good.
All right.
Good one.
I'll disqualify myself.
What, is it your birthday today?
Soon. No. Today is March 6th. Whose birthday is coming up in the next...
Today. Whose birthday's today?
Whose birthday's today? I mean, if you were here tonight and this was your birthday, that's amazing, but also concerning. Whose birthday's tomorrow? What?
What about tomorrow?
Tomorrow? How about the 8th? How about the 9th? 10th? Oh my God, am I going to get this? 11th? 12th? 13th? 14th? 15th? 16th? 17th? 18th? 19th? 20th?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to us. It goes to you.
March 20th.
Yeah.
First day of spring.
You better believe it, sister.
Day of Zodiac.
That's right. What's your name? Tanya, come and get your prize. She's got another one. I'm gonna.
Yeah. This is yours. This is yours, Tanya.
This is yours. Come on up and get it. Yay, Tanya!
Congratulations.
Congratulations. This is a very exciting moment in your life.
You're gonna put it back in the packaging though.
No, we'll put it back for you. We'll pack it up for you.
Yeah, it's a full service conversation. So while they're wrapping that up, I want to thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you
You're welcome.
for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you to Ross Simonini. Did I do it right? Yeah. All right. Thank you. And to Emily and to the Strand and to the Believer. I don't know if this was mentioned before, but this is the first of a series of conversations, music conversations or conversations with musicians. I don't know what the other ones are. So it's a good thing that you came to this one. You either bought the book or you didn't buy the book or you will buy the book, but the book, this is a bookstore.
What is this book?
Oh, so the book is an anthology. It's the anthology, The Believer, The Best Music Interviews, which we're in.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. You're in there. We're in there. And if we ever do another event, we'll just read straight from it. Confidence, or the appearance of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It is, yeah. Confiding.
Huh, that's almost too smart for me. So yeah, that's it, right? I mean, we pretty much rep. Tanya got a prize. You guys got some insights. You played with dogs. I mean, come on, this was awesome. Thank you.
On behalf of the Strand especially, thank you so much, Laurie, Amanda, for joining us tonight.